Now 10% other losers followed suit were the likes of Omatek, Square, Lasaco, and NGS Group. We will go on a quick break, and when we return, we'll be looking at activities from other selected exchanges. I'm talking about the likes of the New York Stock Exchange, the London Stock Exchange, the Chinese Stock Exchange, of course, which comprises Shenzhen and Shanghai exchanges. You have your business morning, and indeed opening bell. We'll be right back after this time out. Stay tuned. Great to have you rejoin us. It's still the Afia Business Morning, and you are watching Opening Bell. We're going straight to the floors of the New York Stock Exchange this morning, where it is all dips in index values across board. We're interested to know that the NYC Composite DJ is down at 0.83%. The NYC US 100 index down 0.67%. Dow Jones Industrial Average down 0.75%, the S&P 500 index, the NYSE FANG TM index, the Nasdaq Composite, the Nasdaq 100 all down 0.50%, 0.89%, 0.55%, and 0.33% respectively. Away from that, pretty much is the same order of events. When we get to the exchange at London, it's all dips as well. The FTSE 100 is down at 1.15%, the FTSE 250 down 1.10%, FTSE 350, FTSE All-Share Index all down at 1.06% and 1.08% respectively. And now we move over to China. China also starting off with the exchange at Shenzhen. It's all dips. Index values across board. The Shenzhen Composite Index is down 1.33%. SZSE Composite Index down 1.30%. And the Chinex Index is also down at 2.73%. Away from that, the activity at the Shanghai Exchange is a little different, except for just one rise there, which is the stock SSE 50 Index, which is up at 0.18%. However, the SSE Composite Index is down at 0.06%. Star 50 Index is down at 2.02%. The SSE 180 Index, SSE 380 Index, CSI 300 Index all down 0.10%, 0.55%, and 0.41% respectively. We're going to break, and when we return, it'll be time to look at commodity prices as well as a consumer price watch in the open market. You may want to follow the program, join in on the conversation on our dedicated Afia Business YouTube channel. Kindly tap in the search bar www.youtube.com/Afia Business. And while you're there, do want to hit the like button. Remember, you should subscribe and turn on notifications so you get notified each time we put up new content on our YouTube channel. The Afia Business Morning, and indeed Opening Bell. We'll be right back after this time out. Stay tuned. name is Ubon Kings.
I am Marvelous Apamaga.
I am Chioma Akbala.
My name is Ifunaya Ndule, but I'm living in market begin.
Yo, welcome back, and I am Ubon Kings. It's still the Afia Business Morning, and you are watching Opening Bell right here on Afia TV. It's time to check in on commodity prices, and we will start with precious metals, and it's an even distribution of rises and dips in index values across the board today. Gold and silver both up at 1.23% and 1.39% respectively. However, platinum and palladium are both down at 1.74% and 0.93% respectively. Away from that, let's take a look at energy this morning. Natural gas is up at a huge margin of 10.25%. Brashov and Kwaibo are the only other two commodities that are up at 0.93% respectively. However, ethanol is down at 0.56%. Coal, oil, Brent and Bonny Light all down at 0.45%, 0.14% and 2.84% respectively. Now moving on, let's take a look at industrial metals this morning. Industrial metals is a mixture of rises and dips and index values across board, with more commodities up than down. The only commodities down are those of copper, zinc and tin, which are down at 0.89%, 1.14% and 0.58% respectively. However, aluminum is up at 1.41%, lead is up at 0.32%, iron ore is up at 0.03%, nickel is also up at 0.30%. You're watching the Afia Business Morning. This indeed is the Opening Bell segment. To follow the program, join in on the conversation on our dedicated Afia Business YouTube channel. Kindly type in the search bar www.youtube.com/Afia Business. While you're there, do hit the like button. Remember, you should subscribe and turn on notifications so you get notified each time we put up new content on the Afia Business YouTube channel. Up next, we're going to be taking a look at the hikes prices of food commodities in the open market, as well as the hikes in fuel prices. And on that note, I'll see you tomorrow on the Opening Bell when the exchanges reopen for trading. The Afia Business Morning. We'll be right back with the segment Global Business. My name is Ubon Kings. Stay tuned.
Afia Business Morning. Join me every weekday on the Afia Business Morning as we bring to you a trilogy of business segments. The opening bell where we see activities from our select stock exchanges. The global business where we bring you up to speed on business activities making the rounds all over the world. And we bring the conversation home on the segment Eastern Business Reports as we discuss business activities and issues bedeviling businesses in the Southeast region. My name is Ubon Kings. Join the Afia Business Morning every weekday 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Exclusive to Afia TV on DSTV channel 254 and GoTV channel 17. The Afia Business Morning. Business unusual.
Thank you for rejoining me on the Afia Business Morning. Welcome to Global Business, and here we'll be taking a look at business news stories around the continent of Africa and indeed the rest of the world. My name is Ubon Kings. Now here are the headlines that we're tracking at the moment. Starting off from the beloved continent of Africa, and About Africa has reported that Trump has vowed to cut aid to South Africa over land expropriation. Away from that, Indonesia is scheduled to build 4.3 gigawatts nuclear power plants. And away from that as well, we move to the US, where it's reported that US could seek over $1 billion from Johnson & Johnson for cancer treatment costs. We'll bring you details of the stories and more right after this time out. Stay tuned. You're watching Global Business Radio on the Afia Business Morning, and we will begin with business stories about Africa, where it's reported that, the U.S. President Donald Trump has announced that the U.S. would halt aid to South Africa over its land expropriation policies, causing the rand to drop, which comes less than 2 weeks after the South African President Cyril Ramaphosa signed a new law making it easier for the state to expropriate land in the public interest, requiring only equitable compensation. The United States allocated nearly $440 million in assistance, to South Africa in 2023, an amount that holds significance even for Africa's most industrialized economy. However, following Trump's remarks, the South African rand dropped nearly 2% against the dollar in early Asia trading, as Trump claimed without providing assistance, or rather evidence that certain classes of people in South Africa were being treated very badly. Unfortunately, this isn't the first time Trump has threatened South Africa with economic consequences. For instance, in December 2024, he warned of a 100% tariff on BRICS nations, including South Africa, if they moved away from the US dollar. Okay, this story has highlighted a couple of things, key issues, I must say. Now, top on the list of curious observations for me will be the last paragraph, right, of the story that says, according to the story, yes, it says that this isn't the first time that Trump has threatened South Africa with economic consequences. And there was an instance in December 2024, Trump warned of a 100% tariff on BRICS nations, including South Africa, if they moved away from the US dollar. Now, hold on. A 100% tariff on BRICS nations, they moved away from the US dollar. Now, why does this feel like, for lack of a better expression, world domination and control? Now, let me share with you the implication of having a single country's currency as the one used globally. Now, if a single country's currency were the only one used globally, it would significantly impact international trade and finance, potentially, this is the part that is interesting, potentially leading to increased economic power for that nation, in this context, the US. Now, it doesn't stop there. This will also expose them to greater economic vulnerability, as fluctuations in the economy could directly affect, yes, you heard, they directly affect the entire world, with potential downsides like reduced flexibility for other countries to manage their own economic situations and increased risk of global economic instability. Now, does that look like America and the effect the dollar has had on world economies? Little wonder a lot of African countries are calling for the de-dollarization of their economies, and like the African Development Bank proposed, I took this yesterday on the show, the backing of African currencies with Africa's rich and valuable minerals, pretty much like a gold standard. Well, we'll see how this pans out, whether or not Africa will move in that direction and boost their own economy as well as boost their own currencies. Fingers crossed. Moving on to other business news stories making the rounds this morning, and this time from the pharmaceutical world, where it's reported that the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, HHS, may seek over $1 billion from Johnson & Johnson as reimbursement for federal health agencies' payment of medical costs for patients who allege that the company's baby powder and other talc products caused them to develop cancer. Now, the HHS and the Department of Veterans Affairs recently objected to Johnson & Johnson's $10 billion proposed settlement of tens of thousands of ovarian cancer lawsuits, indicating that resolving those cases in bankruptcy could impair the government's reimbursement rights. Meanwhile, the HHS estimates is based on the number of people who have alleged that Johnson & Johnson products caused their cancer, and the government could seek additional reimbursements as more people develop cancer in the future. However, Johnson & Johnson will defend its bankruptcy plan in a multi-day court hearing scheduled to begin on February 18, where the U.S. bankruptcy judge Christopher Lopez will consider competing demands to approve or reject the talc statement. Now, let me try to emphasize a few things, right? First, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services is pretty much seeking over $1 billion from Johnson & Johnson as reimbursement for federal health agencies' payments of medical costs for patients who allege that Johnson & Johnson baby powder and other talc products actually caused them to develop cancer. Now, let me reiterate. It is alleged that the Johnson & Johnson's baby powder and other products caused people to develop cancer. Question is, cancer? Now, more specifically, we're talking about tens of thousands of ovarian cancer lawsuits. Let's break this down a little further, right? Johnson & Johnson is expected to remit over $1 billion to federal health agencies as payments of medical costs. That's the point. For patients who allege that, the company that's Johnson & Johnson baby powder actually caused them, other talc products, by the way, actually caused them to develop cancer. Meanwhile, here's the catch. Johnson & Johnson had filed for bankruptcy, meaning that there's no over $1 billion to pay anyone from anywhere. Anyway, Johnson & Johnson will defend this bankruptcy plan in a multi-day court hearing scheduled to begin February 18, when the U.S. bankruptcy judge Christopher Lopez will consider competing demands to either approve or reject the talc settlement. We'll see how this pans out eventually. You're still watching Global Business right here on the Afia Business Morning on Afia TV. Kindly join in the conversation on our dedicated Afia Business YouTube channel. Kindly tap in the search bar www.youtube.com/Afia Business. While you're there, hit the like button. Remember, you should subscribe and turn on notifications so you know when we put up new content on that dedicated YouTube channel. We'll take a short break, and when we come back, more stories coming your way. Please stay. Glad to have you rejoin us on Global Business right here on the Afia Business Morning. And now to the rest of the stories. At this time, we're moving on to the energy sector, where it's reported, well, Indonesia is in the news. And it's reported that Indonesia, the largest exporter of thermal coal in the world, is aiming to build several nuclear power plants for cleaner energy with a total capacity of 4.3 gigawatts, including floating small modular reactors, SMRs, which is according to the Presidential Special Envoy for Climate and Energy, Hashim Jojo Hadisumu, who said this at a recent energy forum. Hashim indicated that the challenges posed by climate change are one of the reasons for the need to build nuclear power plants, stating that the Indonesian government will not close all coal power plants by 2040, but will halt the construction of new ones. Meanwhile, recently the Indonesian government announced plans to build more than 20 nuclear power plants by 2050, where the coordinating economic minister Erlangga Hartarto stated that the state utility PLN is collaborating with companies from Japan and the US to construct these plants. Now, first of all, let me try to explain or emphasize a few things. And one of them will be the fact that, are you aware, as it were, that building a nuclear power plant would actually span as much as from 5 to 10 years? Now, this in and of itself can accrue significant financial costs, depending, of course, on how the initial investments are financed. And it's reported that Indonesia is planning on building more than 20 of such power plants by 2050. Interestingly, too, according to the story, it's reported that, it's indicated that the challenge posed by climate change, take note of that, is one of the reasons for the need to build nuclear power plants. Now, when you think about it, what happens to all that thermal coal that Indonesia is known for? Well, the Indonesian government has stated that it will not close all coal power plants by 2040, but that it will halt construction of new ones. And to achieve this, Indonesia as a country cannot do it by itself. Little wonder the Indonesian coordinating minister actually stated that this country-owned utility PLN is actually collaborating with companies from Japan and the US. Underline that, to construct this plant. Anyway, fingers crossed, we'll see how it pans out eventually, whether or not they achieve that aim, and then the terms and conditions of services of these countries. Very key, before you sign dotted lines and put the whole country in jeopardy. Moving on, and in an attempt to end this bulletin, let's bring you this particular story. Oil prices have recently jumped after US President Donald Trump imposed tariffs on Canada, Mexico and China, raising fears of crude supply disruption from two of the biggest suppliers to the US, but the prospect of lower fuel demand cap gains. Brent crude was up 1.3% to $76.64 a barrel, while West Texas Intermediate crude WTI rose 2.3% to $74.20 per barrel. However, effective today, the U.S. will impose a 25% levy on imports from Canada and Mexico, a 10% tariff on energy products from Canada, and an additional 10% tariff on China. Oh well. Meanwhile, the U.S. imports around 4 million barrels a day of crude from Canada, most of which is processed by refineries in the Midwest. Unfortunately, oil's strength might be short-lived, as escalating trade tensions could significantly hit global growth and ultimately dampen demand, market watchers said. Now, this is, to me, I call this the Trump effect, which is moving all over Europe, as it were. Somebody once said, when Trump sneezes, the whole world catches cold. Oh well, let's join Global News as they took out the time to share with us how Trump has threatened, as it were, a 10% tariff on Canadian oil, and how this will pretty much impact the industry. Let's take a look.
With 2 drill sites in Western Canada, Surge Energy is a smaller player in the oil and gas industry. So it's been trying to insulate from tariffs by selling its oil before they take effect.
We're nicely locked in for the first half of this year at those low differentials. So,
like many in the industry, Surge's CEO had hoped Canadian energy exports would escape unscathed. But the U.S. president says tariffs on oil are happening in just a few weeks at 10% instead of the broader 25%.
Having tariffs is never a good thing, right? Like, this will have a huge blow to Canadians and our economy.
The 4th largest producer of oil and gas in the world, Canada exports 97% of its resource to the U.S. 60% of oil and gas that goes into the United States comes from Canada. Canada is dependent on U.S. consumers, but the U.S. needs Canadian oil too.
The refineries will have to jack up prices if tariffs go on that oil. It could be 50 or 75 cents a barrel, and particularly the Midwest refineries in Minnesota and Illinois and some of those swing states would be most likely to increase prices.
It's why even American lobby groups like the American Petroleum Institute have been calling for the U.S. president to leave oil out of its tariff plans. Dropping energy tariffs to 10% may feel like a modest win, but it won't go far to counter the country's economic pain.
The Alberta oil and gas sector is not strong enough, big enough, relative to the size of the Canadian economy as a whole, that even if the oil and gas continues to flow, that it's going to save Canada from a recession.
Oh, well, we will follow up with the story as well as other stories as they unfold and keep you in the loop. And talking about keeping you in the loop, you may want to get to our dedicated Afia Business YouTube channel. And by kindly typing the search bar www.youtube.com/Afia Business. While you're there, the world, hit the like button. Remember, you should subscribe at the same time. Turn on notifications so you get notified each time we put up new content on the YouTube channel. You're still watching the Afia Business Morning live from Afia TV. Coming up next would be the Eastern Business Report, and we will be looking at roadblocks in the Southeast, concerns and the economic implications. The Afia Business Morning will be right back after this time out. My name is Ubong Kings. Stay tuned.
Welcome to Afia TV, your go-to channel for excellent news and incredible shows that keeps you IEI, that is, informed, entertained, and inspired. Need a break?
Ladies and germs, welcome to Lunch Break on Afia TV.
Join Choco to vibe and chill on Lunch Break at 2 p.m. for the latest trends in music and entertainment.
Not like I have big money.
Dive into the world of innovation and creativity with Rochelle on Anka.
It means art in English,
where creative minds and groundbreaking ideas come to life. Tune in every weekday at 8 p.m. Do not miss Afia TV Official, your perfect dose of laughter, where they discuss what is currently trending on social media every day at 5:30 p.m. on Afia TV.
But in this economy, the savings will save you, man.
And that's not all. Stay tuned for more exciting shows on Afia TV. Catch us on DSTV channel 254 and GoTV channel 17.
Join me every weekday on the Afia Business Morning as we bring to you a trilogy of business segments. The opening bell where we see activities from our select stock exchanges. The global business where we bring you up to speed on business activities making the rounds all over the world. And we bring the conversation home on the segment Eastern Business Reports as we discuss business activities and issues bedeviling businesses in the Southeast region. My name is Ubon Kings. Join the Afia Business Morning every weekday 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Exclusive to Afia TV on DSTV channel 254 and GoTV channel 17. The Afia Business Morning. Business unusual.
You're watching the Afia Business Morning. This is the Eastern Business Report, which is designed to bring you up to speed on business activities and policies affecting businesses and the economy of the Southeastern region of Nigeria. It comes right after Global Business on the Afia Business Morning. And on today's edition of the Eastern Business Report, we'll be looking at roadblocks in the Southeast, concerns and economic implications. My name is Ubon King. Welcome to the Eastern Business Report. Welcome back. It's still this is the Business Report, and today's edition, just like I said before the break, we're looking at roadblocks in the Southeast and of course trying to ascertain its economic implications. And it may interested to know that the Christmas and New Year festivities have pretty much brought this issue of multiple checkpoints and alleged extortion by different security agents across roads in the Southeast region to the front burner following the frustrating experiences of commuters and motorists. Now, the region is known for its rich cultural heritage, scenic landscapes and warm hospitality. However, for travelers, well, the zone's numerous checkpoints have become a source of frustration, anxiety, and unwarranted delays. Look, we're talking about the likes of the Onitsha to Enugu, the Onitsha-Owerri roads, the boundaries, and not forgetting, of course, military checkpoints. Now, the situation has become a major concern for the public, and while the need for security is undeniable, the current approach is believed to be clearly not working, necessitating an urgent need for reform. And joining me on this conversation is none other than Comrade Felix Jagalu, we pronounce that properly, public affairs analyst and the former House of Assembly candidate for the North. It's good to have you join us. It's been a while. We've seen you this year. In fact, let me say Happy New Year. Let's start there.
Happy New Year, boy.
Happy New Year to you too.
How you doing? No, you look good.
Great. Well, thank you. Thank you for the compliment. Yeah, you don't look bad yourself.
What?
Welcome from the leave. Welcome. So quickly, what are your thoughts? Really, I want to understand what your thoughts are with this analogy, because there's a whole lot of analogy, and one of them is the fact that a lot of persons think that the Southeast has been completely militarized, as it were, What are your thoughts, really?
When you say militarized, it begins to look as if it's only the military those roads. Not only the military. We have all sorts of the armed forces. The road safety is there. The police are there. The custom people are there. Those other unnamed tax collectors are there. I call them unnamed because they're unbranded. But they are collecting taxes, and then obviously somebody in government supports them. If not so, they keep on doing it. So they are numerous, I must tell you. When you talk about these checkpoints, there should be a reason for them to be there. And I think the basic reason is for them to, stop people, check their vehicles, know if they are carrying one or two or the other. And most times this doesn't even happen. Like if that's even the essence, this doesn't happen. The only thing you see is when people stop by, wave their hand, and they give them some stuff, some what they demand, financial money and all that, and then those cars pass. But the problem is that this is somewhat starting to become a business, and even the drivers are beginning to become used to it. That every half a kilometer you move, you see a checkpoint, and you see another checkpoint, and you just have to pay. And this is really affecting our people directly, because in production, you check all the costs put in production. Now production is not complete until it gets to the final consumer. So when you put all the transportation costs, you put everything. So if let's say onion is supposed to sell for 15 naira, for example, and then you spend almost 6,000 extra costs, on that particular onion. You see a basket of onion, for example. Now instead of costing that 15 naira, it begins to cost 300 naira and all that. So, but apart from the financial costs, there's also damages those things cost. Because you see some of our roads are hilly. For example, you can see what happened in the Ugoyama area. Yeah. Yes. And then some of these checkpoints are even badly placed. You see people putting checkpoints, in a slopey area or in a hill. And these vehicles that carry these goods are heavy-duty vehicles. And then when you stop them in a hill just to check, sometimes the vehicle can just roll off, and then the vehicle in front of the person will not be who don't have any choice. That's what happened. That's happened to me once. I am lucky to survive because I was stopped at the checkpoint. The military guys were there doing their normal collection, financial collection, and then this big vehicle was coming with speed right beside. I was lucky to see that vehicle. Like I was so lucky to see the vehicle. It was coming straight to the door. The driver was the wire. I just saw it, and I couldn't move because there were so many cars in front of me. I just moved to hit the back of my car, and then it made a mess of my car, and I was lucky to survive. So, and these things continue, and it seems that nobody is doing anything about it. I've seen people talk about it in the House of Representatives, people talk about it in the Senate, and it only continues here in the Southeast. Ubong, I've lived in the northern part of Nigeria. I've stayed some part of my life in Lagos. Are you getting me? And you don't drive 1 kilometer and see checkpoints on our federal road. It's like everywhere. This how big is even the Southeast? We have more checkpoints in the Southeast than we have in the whole of Kaduna State. And Kaduna is far bigger than 2 states in this in Southeast combined. But you can drive a whole 7 to 8 to 10 kilometers between Kaduna and Abuja without seeing a military checkpoint. So I don't really understand the essence of it. People have argued and said, we have the IPOB. We have more unrest in the north, I must tell you, than we have here. Growing as a child, there was unrest in the north. We had the Boko Haram issue. We had even the Sharia riot 1 and 2. We have the Zango Kataf riot 1992. We had several riots. The only historic thing we had there was the Biafran. After that, nothing else. And maybe the current IPOB, which is very bloated, but not as even worrisome as what happens in the north. But we don't have these checks. And that's why you see inflation of prices in the Southeast. And people say things are expensive here. Of course, the farming power is from the north. We bring most of our food from the north. And those who plant it do not really put much. But those who transport it go through a hell a lot of hell on the road, paying a lot of tax. Even if you're in a commercial bus and you see the number of, I don't even know what will I call it. I call it in my novel. I call it understand. And you get it if you feed it, because the drivers don't understand. Immediately they stop, they bring out money and they move. And if you do not move, if you don't do that, they just delay you, keep you by the side, search your vehicle, search everybody, harass everybody. Even if they find nothing, they keep you there because you refuse to understand. And it's painful, Obong, I must tell you, apart from the human dehumanization it causes, it has taken a toll on our economy. And most drivers, for example, people are not shipping to our place again. Things are cut. There was a time that onions became so scarce, tomato became so scarce, because when people consider how much it takes them to transport their goods, they better sell at their own end, and we are the receiving end. So that's my take on that.
I think that's a good place to look at a certain conversation that the army actually, in fact, it was a defense for having multiple checkpoints at different places, especially in the southeast. Let's take a look at that report, and when we come back, we'll continue this conversation.
Thank you.
There have been complaints in various quarters about the numerous military checkpoints on southeastern roads, which lead to incessant gridlocks. Responding to questions while reeling out the ongoing military operations from January to December 2024, the Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Edward Buba, explained that the number of military checkpoints is dependent on the terrain and the need to safeguard the citizenry.
But when you go to the southeast, because of the nature of the terrain, with the vegetation, you cannot do that. Because if you give that space, you're giving space for the terrorists to operate. So you have to close in and put those checkpoints closer, so that when there's anything that's quicker reaction, will citizens be inconvenienced? The second answer is yes. But it is for the purpose of what? Security.
He said over the last 12 months, troops were confronted by several threats across the country, ranging from armed banditry, kidnapping for ransom, crude oil theft, violent extremism, insurgency, as well as terrorism, among others, several of which had vastly affected innocent citizens and disrupted peace and security in the country. The Director of Defense Media Operations revealed that the troops' war effort was designed and crafted to defeat and destroy the terrorists, as well as dismantle their terror infrastructure across the country. Major General Buba gave some of the success stories to include the elimination of over 1,000 notable terrorist leaders, commanders and combatants, neutralized 10,937 terrorists, arrested 12,538 and rescued 7,063 hostages.
The cost of the year as follows. We recovered over 4,332 AK-47 rifles, over 1,244 locally fabricated guns, over 838 Denny guns, 259 pump action guns, and over 29,000 assorted ammunition among other items recovered.
Oh, well, yeah, you've listened to that and you've seen that and they're smiling. Okay, you tell us why you're smiling right now, because what I got from that simply, it just tells me that from his statement, a number of things he said, it made it sound like the Southeast is a hot spot. And you, in your initial analysis, did say that the Southeast does not even have as much incidences as North. Now, is this a deliberate, somebody called it a deliberate ploy to make the Southeast look like it is not economically viable, especially for persons who would want to invest in the Southeast?
You see, I wouldn't say what I don't know. I would rather say what I know. Okay. And what I know is that this is laughable, I must tell you. this is really laughable. Because let's look at the analysis. We've had a lot of kidnapping along the OP, Onitsha, that express road leading from that Nikki road leading to Nsukka. It even happened recently. And we have a lot of checkpoints on those roads. And it continues to happen. So I don't really understand what what he's saying. You see, sometimes I wonder what they do in the planning. Because you don't plan after incidents. You plan for those things not to happen. That's why you do forecasts. You say, okay, what if this happens? What if this happens? And you put measures in place. We wait for 30 people to die, 100 people to be kidnapped, 1,000 people, to be, before we now start saying, oh, they kidnapped like these legs. And then, so that's the problem. Like I said earlier, if you go to Kafanchan in Kaduna State, and some places of Kwai and some other places like that, there are constant attacks. People pay levies. Nobody pay levy anywhere in the Southeast. Okay, sometimes it happened close to what do we call this boundary between Anambra and the Imo State or Lo. Are you getting me? And then this or that Ihiala. But there are places people pay constant taxes to terrorists so that they can farm in the north. And these people are known. They're not hidden. And somebody is telling me that we don't have 50,000 checkpoints in those places because they are not hot in the... I don't know the analysis with which this being hot is measured. But from 9 Mile to Nsukka, you have almost close to 1,000 checkpoints. You see the police. After a while, you see under police. After a while, you see under police. You see the army. You see under police. You see the army. You see the DSA. You see the you continue to see people. And that same day, maybe when you get to Onitsha, you hear that they kidnapped like 30. I don't ask. Is it that same road I saw 1,000 checkpoints? If truly the place is hot like he claims, how many times have they even gone to do? Okay, it is said some people who escaped from the last kidnapping that happened, that those people who kidnapped them are lodged somewhere in the bush in Anambra, and they have a house there, they have a place where they bury people. It means they are residents. They are not on transit. They are residents. And they've camped there, let's say, maybe up to 3 years. And you say you are doing security, and people continue to be kidnapped. I just begin to see that these people, it is hard for you to say that. Let me tell you, one time president of this country said that even security goes above 24 hours, is either the president does not, is that the government does not know what he's doing, or the government is part of it. And I must tell Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to stop allowing people to use excuses to mar his tenure. Because you can tell me that things continue to repeat and continue to repeat, and the only report card you have is excuses. Excuses upon excuses. At a time, let me tell you, I don't know if until they call people out before they start working, then you ask yourself, what were they doing before? Because see what happened in Anambra. See, people started saying, we will not vote Soludo again, we will not vote Soludo again. Insecurity is favoring him. And then before you know, we start seeing pictures that they are catching people. They are doing this. People, somebody who has been in office for almost close to 4 years. And then the election is in some few days. So it means that it is when it is now personal, or when it now affects you. I don't really understand it. Are you getting me? So if there is intention, like I said, and the intention is to make sure that we are decongesting criminals, we are breaking hideouts. I don't think criminals parade on the road. I think criminals have hideouts. Criminals have places. Then secondly, I must tell you, okay, you are saying that you are for criminals. Let's accept that. The tolls, the money, is a shame, let me tell you. When I was growing up, when I was quite very younger, I wanted to be a soldier, I must tell you. I didn't have the opportunity. I think I wrote the ND exam several times. I wasn't taking, but I wanted to be a soldier. Because as a Nigerian growing up, you believe that every other arm can be corrupt. You believe that anybody can be bribed, but you always believe that a soldier cannot. But it is quite shaming and alarming today that you see our officers on the road and people are collecting money. It's shameful. It's abysmal. You can call other people names before, but you cannot call the military. So it's abysmal. Today it is now, if you have, put a secret camera on your clothes and travel down that road, you cry for Nigeria. People who are supposed to enforce the law are boldly on the streets collecting money from people. And that is why transportation that is supposed to cost 100 naira will be costing 500. And you see people calling people, say it's fuel, it's this one, but you're adding your own. And the economy is shaking. Every Nigerian is involved in this. But everybody must take its own blame. I know that citizens are doing this, but we did not elect citizens to represent us. We did not elect citizens, we did not give up our rights through social contracts for the citizens to represent us. The social contract is between the citizen and the government. And we are saying, bring measures, bring policies to protect the people, protect our welfare. Not put 1 million checkpoints on the road. Do you know that so many times they've dislodged those checkpoints? Other government officials that say, this thing have been killing people. I think a Federal House of Rep member was saying it the last time, the one representing Udi, Enugu West Senatorial Zone, was saying that they made attempts before and said, this place, this thing is bad. The road is bad. Even the senior president mentioned it when he was talking. He said he knows that road, that there's a gully there. You know there's a gully that when people can fall and die. And I don't know if we don't value life in this country. We prefer goodwill message. Or is it condolence message? We prefer, hey, we are sorry for the disease. Let's give them, instead of protecting those lives. So, Ubong, things will continue to be expensive in this part of the country. Things that are imported because of those chains with which it gets here. So, I think the military should do better. If you want to attack crime, like you call it, are you getting me? Go to those places and get those people. Are you getting me? Instead of collecting money from drivers who are doing higher purchase, who cannot meet up and all that. But that's, I know people are angry. I was so Ubong onions that are small as this is 400 naira, for God's sake. How many people make up to 1,000 naira a day in this country? We're going mad. And if you continue to blame government, but you who has been given opportunity to do some of these things, you are abusing it. And then you say the government is not doing well, this is not doing well. But the agencies who are supposed to do this are not working. And then this overlap of duties in this country is becoming alarming. We don't even know what the police is meant to do. We don't know what the road safety is meant to do. We don't know. Everybody is overlapping. You see, the police stops you today, is asking you questions the army should ask you. Is asking you questions that the road safety should ask you. The road safety is asking you questions. So this overlap of duties. And Ubong, it's not even that there are so many checkpoints. The problem is that you can see one checkpoint for the next checkpoint. As I'm looking at you now, I'm seeing this checkpoint, the next checkpoint. The other checkpoint is seeing that these people have stopped you. Police. This is not as if, let's say, maybe it's road safety. Police and police. This particular police that stopped you, they've checked the vehicle as they want to check, collected their own understand. And then the next one will collect their own understand. And then before you, it's annoying. It's annoying. And I must call out the governors on this. Because when it comes to time of security, the governors will disappear on the grounds that security is for the federal government. But when they want to harass somebody, when they want to intimidate people, they will remember they can control security. Then I ask, what the hell is the use of the security votes? That huge amount that they collect, what do they do with it? This is time for the governors to wake up. And what Soludo is now doing recently is now showing you that the governors can actually wake up, but they have refused to. So I want to tell Nigerians, as much as you want to start calling out the federal government, know that the government closest to you is the state government. What we do in Nigeria is hypocritical criticism of government. We criticize the one we think is far that cannot touch us, while we are complacent with the ones that are close to us. I think
that's a good place to leave this conversation. I wish you had more time. I wish you could stretch this for another 20-30 minutes, but then we can't. But thank you so much, Felix, for coming around. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
And in case you're just joining in, this will pretty much be the size of the package today on the Eastern Business Report. I played host to Comrade Felix Ijengalu, who is a public affairs analyst and the former House of Assembly candidate Uti North. You're still watching the Afia Business Morning live from Enugu State, Nigeria. You may want to join in on the conversation and drop off a comment or two on our dedicated Afia Business YouTube channel displayed right now on your screen at www.youtube.com/Afia Business. Remember to turn on notifications so you get to see each time we drop a new content on that channel. Coming up next will be Afia. My name is Ubong Kings. Stay tuned.
Welcome to Afia TV, your go-to channel for excellent news and incredible shows that keeps you IEI, that is, informed, entertained, and inspired. Need a break?
Ladies and germs, welcome to Lunch Break on Afia TV.
Join Choco to